We have that great interview with Ambassador Carla Sands recorded earlier today for you now. So we're going to toss it over to me and Ambassador Carla Sands, and we'll be back momentarily. And we're here with Ambassador Carla Sands in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, for the 60th presidential inauguration. Always a joy for you to be on the show, Miss Carla Sands. What are your thoughts with the incoming administration? We're very close now to President Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance taking office. It seems that foreign policy will be the first focus, especially with Operation Aurora. We're hearing reports that ICE will go into major cities like Chicago and start arresting illegal migrants.
Yeah, they're going to start with criminals. That's what they said. In fact, I talked to Tom Homan yesterday. He is ready to go. He's chomping at the bit because he knows the Biden administration literally let in about 500,000 known criminals. And these aren't like petty crime. These are criminals, rapists, murderers, people who have assaulted others. And they've been allowed to just live in America and repeat, if they're in a sanctuary city, repeat offend and not be taken off the streets. The American citizens have suffered because of this. They're ready to have law and order back. I think that there's a consensus that it's important.
And we've seen this from a bipartisan aspect to a certain extent with Mayor Eric Adams just going down to Mar-a-Lago to visit President Trump in regards to how to safeguard New York City. Do you think there will be more bipartisan consensus when President Trump enacts the executive orders of rebuilding the wall and also continuing the projects such as Operation Aurora?
Bobby, I hope so. For instance, we see Mayor Adams making a conscious decision to make the the people of New York City more safe. But then we have pockets of resistance around the country. You saw that Gavin Newsom has tried to raise about $50 million in funds just to sue President Trump and his administration for blocking things like enforcing immigration laws, which are the federal law of the land. So I think President Trump is going to use many levers of pressure on people like Gavin Newsom, who is a disaster as a governor, and places like Los Angeles or San Francisco that have really suffered under these leftist policies, where people who live there really aren't safe.
And give us your take, too, on Greenland and this discussion. You were the ambassador to Denmark. You've dealt with the Danish government and where their hearts are at with continuing to keep this land. We know that there's an independence movement with the citizens there, the residents of Greenland, where they might choose just to be independent or they might choose to join the United States. So how do you think those negotiations will go on between the kingdom and President Trump's administration?
Well, I've been shocked at the forward leaning of the Greenlanders as President Trump's coming into office. I was shocked that the premier literally said from the podium less than 2 weeks ago, we are going independent. I thought that was decades away. Clearly, it's not. And we, as a neighbor of Greenland, can't allow them to be vulnerable to China and Russia, which have a defense cooperation pact. So we want to make sure that Greenland, our northeast neighbor, part of North America, is secure. Denmark can't afford to secure it. They actually can't afford to develop it. They haven't done so over the hundreds of years that they've had control of Greenland. And the Greenlanders, Danes are great allies. They're part of NATO, founding members. We love the Danes. We love the Greenlanders too. And the Greenlanders are our neighbor. And so they want opportunity. They want to have success in their tourism. They want success in their mining. They have uranium, rare earth minerals, energy under the ground. They really want to make Greenland great. And this is an opportunity for President Trump to find a way to partner with Greenland to make Greenland successful financially, but also secure on our behalf and their behalf.
What are you most looking forward to with the inaugural ceremonies? Now we have some pre-inauguration celebrations happening as well. And have you been to past inaugurations? What are some of your favorite memories from, say, those past inaugurations?
So I have been to past inaugurations. I was at President Trump's first inauguration, and I was really disappointed in 2020 with what happened. And it was a terrible time for America, but now we have, I would quote Ronald Reagan, it's morning in America, and you can feel the energy on the streets. There's enthusiasm, there's joy, there's hope. And for the young people that have really struggled under the Biden administration and the bad policies and poor economic options, this is going to be a great time to find a good paying job, to move forward in their careers. There's going to be so much business opportunity under President Trump and the people that he surrounded himself with.
Now, speaking of young people and business opportunities, we have seen the Supreme Court ruling on the TikTok ban and the White House releasing a communication statement simply saying that the next administration will have to handle it. With the way the law is written, the President of the United States has really that 90-day window if there is a move by the Chinese Communist Party or ByteDance, the company that now owns the TikTok app. And we know that some young people and influencers are already going to red note roughly 20% of the users, which might even be a worse spy tool. So what are some of your takes with the free speech issue at hand, but also just being careful with the Chinese Communist Party trying to spy on American citizens?
Well, it's more than spying. So we wouldn't allow the Chinese army to come with their weapons onto our soil. TikTok is a weapon. This red note is a weapon. It's a weapon of the Chinese Communist Party. They don't allow TikTok in China. The kids have to learn, science and history of China and things like that on their version. So India banned all Chinese apps in 2019 because they know that Chinese apps are a weapon. China is trying to defeat the West, and specifically the United States, the leader of the Western freedoms that we enjoy, by every means possible. In other words, they don't think of war as like only tanks and guns. They think of it as spying, stealing, which they steal more than any other country from us primarily. Things like TikTok, bribing officials. They have a no-holds-barred war against America. It's asymmetrical warfare, and the American people really haven't woken up to this. So if they're on TikTok, I really hope that American people will find an American-owned app and pivot to that rather than giving the Chinese Communist Party more power over their lives and their information.
And Kevin O'Leary saying that it's roughly worth $20 billion from what he sees, and we'll have all of these tech executives actually coming to the inauguration. So continued discussions on this. Regarding China as well, you have many governors have already outlawed the purchase of Chinese Communist Party interest in our farmland that might be near our bases. Is there anything, given your experience as an ambassador, the federal government can do to prevent some of these further purchases so that they're not monitoring our military activities?
Yes, it's another weapon of war, is the spying on our bases, on our defense and offensive capabilities. Chinese citizens, Chinese people connected to the CCP or with any relationship should not be allowed to buy U.S. farmland. We can't buy farmland in China. I like reciprocity. I like do unto others as they do unto you. So if China doesn't allow us to do something, we shouldn't allow them. That's really how I think about this. But I think China is in so many ways using even more than the farmland. They own our food supply in many cases. Look at the ham companies that they own, for instance. There's many things that they are doing to defeat the United States. Anything they do economically is also to defeat the United States. We just have to keep that in mind. They view us as their chief opponent, and they are at war with us. We need to realize that, embrace the fact, and then make actions to defend against them.
Such a joy to be with you today. Thank you for taking the time. What is your most, what are you most looking forward to with President Trump in his second term? If there's one item you can point out right now.
Sure, that he puts his hand on the Bible and swears to uphold the Constitution, and that all of the people working with him do uphold the Constitution. And we really have this, I would say, the glory days of America. The best days are ahead of us. And I just hope that every one of your viewers thinks about this and thinks about, in 2 years, we're going to have midterms. How do we defend President President Trump and his administration so that they don't, on the other side, impeach him every single day in 2 years. So we have 4 years of glory days, and then hopefully we hold the White House in 4, and we really rebuild our nation. 2 years or 4 years, I don't think are enough because of the damage done by the hard left.
A golden era forthcoming indeed. Ambassador Carla Sands, thank you so much for your time today, and enjoy the inaugural proceedings.
Thanks.